it only records this screen that you see here that I'm sharing. It doesn't record the whole Google Meet, so you won't be in the recording. I know you're sad about that, but okay. So with this, our 4.1 notes, we see we're going to talk about solving some basic algebraic inequalities today. I wish I could move the toolbar so that it would. All right. So we are going to look at, first thing, a couple of vocab words, and I'm going to fill these in as we're going along too, so then I can just take a picture of this and post the updated notes online. So we are going to talk about our inequalities. We have a few things. Let's see if this works. Does it show up on yours? I'm like looking, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it does.
All right. The animations are working today. I'm so excited. Okay, it's okay. That's what I'm doing. So an inequality, a statement that shows two expressions may not be equal. So that's what we were talking about yesterday, saying, well, it's not saying that it's equal to this, it's saying it's greater than or it's less than. So that's our definition of what an inequality is. The graph that we were working with yesterday, we were seeing a lot of those graphs with the shading, and it was just, the simple, they were already done. So the graph of an inequality is the set of all points, everything that represents all of the solutions for that inequality. So all points that represent all solutions. So then our greater than symbol, that's, it's kind of open to the open to the left. I was like, wait, what side is that? And that's our values that are more than a stated amount. Anything that's greater than, we're saying what's bigger than that, more than that. And our less than, that's our less than symbol. I always think that it looks like an L that's fallen over, kind of sideways L. Those are our values that are then going to be less than our stated amount. So 7 is less than 10. Our equivalent inequalities are going to be inequalities that have the same solution. So we're going to be creating equivalent inequalities today. Okay. All right. So there's nothing here for you guys. Not all of the slides are going to be interactive for you. I do like that the animations are working though, which makes me very happy. And that's all I have on this slide. So it's just some of our vocab. And then we're going to go over again just what our symbols look like. We talked about that yesterday as well, how our symbols look, how the graph looks when we see that, what's got an open circle, what's got a closed circle, that kind of thing. So, oh good, I can just click and it goes to the next slide. I wasn't sure which things needed to be done. Okay, so our inequalities, graph of our inequality, we have 4 different ways that an inequality can be graphed based on the symbol. So we have our x is less than or equal to 0. That's a closed circle with their arrow to the left. So our symbol, our equation, has the x and then a less than with an underline 0. So because 0 is the number that we're rotating about. If it's just x is less than 0, then it's the same thing, but it's an open circle. So less than has an open circle, less than or equal to has our closed circle. So just kind of reviewing that information from yesterday. X is greater than or equal to 0, closed circle, greater than means we're going to the right. We want the numbers that are bigger than. And then greater than 0 is just an open circle, also shaded to the right, because we want to be more than that value. So there's nothing really, even if you're following along on the notes packet, there's actually nothing for you to do here. It's already filled in. It's just kind of giving you guys that review from yesterday. Okay. All right. So now we're going to say, let's write and graph. And I think this is one that I'm going to do, and then the next one you guys are going to do. So on this, we have write and graph the inequality that represents each solution. So our first, or each situation, sorry. So in order to ride Superman at Great America, the rider's height must be more than 54 inches. So if we're saying more than, then what kind of inequality am I going to use? Am I going to use a less than symbol or a greater than symbol? And I'm wondering, oh, you know what? I don't think it'll let me. I was trying to think like what tools I have in my little toolbox. I have lots of tools, but I never know which one's which. I wonder, will that let me? Oops. Here we go. Somewhere there was a present tools bar. Huh. I was hoping that it was going to let me draw like a lightning bolt arrow thing, but it doesn't look like I have that. I have them on the Google Meets toolbar, but I don't think I have it on the Pear Deck toolbar. So I'm not going to make you guys come over. It's okay. I was just trying something different. Everything today is like an experiment. So there we go. We want to know, let's see here. First thing, I'm going to plot some points. So I'm going to put in, because I can see the number line that I have doesn't have any numbers on it. Well, that's not very helpful. So I'm going to count by tens because I need to be able to plot and graph this situation. So I counted each mark I'm going to say is 10, 20, 30, 40, that kind of thing. At least up to what I need. So on your homework, I think there's a question where it's going to have you guys where you have to actually plot your points. So then if we want to say it's more than 54 inches, then it's got to be greater than 54. So we're going to say our inequality then is just H greater than. So the bigger, you know, the inequality symbol eats the bigger number. We're talking about more than 54. So we want our variable to be bigger than 54. So what we're going to do then to graph that is we are going to mark kind of, you know, get an estimate of where we think 54 is on the number line, and then open circle because it's greater than, to the right, because, well, open circle because it's just a greater than, open to the right because it's a greater than symbol. So we're going to kind of just sort of estimate where we think 54 is in this graph, and then we shade to the right. So again, this is kind of review from yesterday, but bringing in some words as well. So then our second one here, it says the speed limit on the highway, on Highway 20, is 65 miles per hour. So Highway 20 is actually not important. It's the 65 miles an hour that's the speed limit. That's the important part of our statement here. So if we want to say it's 65, that's the speed limit, meaning you're not supposed to, not saying that people don't, but you're not supposed to go faster than 65. So we stop at 65 and we would drive under the speed limit, which is also very irritating, but when you're in a car and someone's going really slow.
Just keep going.
Right, yeah. So in theory, if you're being a law-abiding citizen, your speed limit is 65 miles per hour, so you stop at 65, or you don't speed any faster than 65. So first thing, let's put some numbers on here. Let's go ahead and just count by tens again. This time I'm going to count all the way up to 70 because I need to have a speed limit that goes, you know, I need to be able to represent a number that's higher than 65. So because I'm going to kind of be in the middle. So I'm going to mark some numbers, and I'm doing this on my paper too. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. That way I kind of am in that range of between 60 and 70, 65 being the speed limit. So now we're saying you're not supposed to go faster than 65, which means that our speed should be less than 65 or equal to 65 because 65 is part of the legal limit. So I can say S is less than or equal to 65. You could, this is a compound inequality. We haven't talked about these yet because technically you wouldn't go less than 0. Like there's no negative speeds. So I put this here as an option, but most people won't use that right now. So we could just write this as S is less than or equal to 65. And I'm using S because it's the speed limit. You can use X if you want. It's just a variable. It's just representing the speed limit, so I used S for speed. So because it's a less than or equal to, when we graph this, we're going to do a closed circle, and it's going to go less than or to the left of our 65. So 65 is in here between 60 and 70. So I'm going to do a closed circle in between 60 and 70 and shade to the left because it's less than. I didn't draw the line all the way extending below 0 because, again, there isn't such a thing as a negative speed limit, so I didn't draw that in. I'm not going to be that particular on homework or tests or anything. If I don't give you something that makes sense where you're having negatives, I'm not going to be requiring that extra logic step of, oh yeah, by the way, it's a speed, so I really shouldn't draw into the negatives. But no, I'm just going to, does your inequality and your graph match? So if your inequality is just S is less than or equal to 65, go ahead and shade the whole thing. I'm going to draw a closed circle between my 60 and 70. I'm going to just label it as 65 since I know that's the number I'm talking about. And I'm going to shade to the left because it's less than 65. Okay, so trying to just take some words and put them into context. So now I've done all the boring parts. Now it's your turn. My turn, your turn. So I've already actually labeled the graph for you, but I want to see if you guys can go ahead and try to write in. There are a lot of different things. You do have a T for a text box tool that will allows you to type if that's easier. You do have your pen tool or a line tool for drawing. There is a sizer on the left. It kind of looks like an up and down, a vertical number line. That if you are drawing something and it's too thick, you can size it down and make it smaller. So same thing with the text. That sizer will make your text bigger or smaller. The little trash can button again on the side will clear your page. If you're like, I wrote a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense, use the little trash can button. It'll clear the whole page back to normal. Okay, so I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. See if you can come up with an inequality that would make sense. A person must be 18 years or older to vote. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to see what you can come up with. See if you can write an inequality, if you can graph an inequality, or if you can do both. Awesome, just to see, what you get so far. And here's the cool part for Miss Weber and Miss Winter. You guys can see, who's got things writing you there. I think you guys can change your views too. Up at the top, it says sort by time, and there's 3 little buttons next to it. So you could see a big slide, you could see multiple slides, or you can see all overlaying. And in this case, it's not overlaid isn't the best because sometimes their text is hard to.
I'm seeing multiple slides. Whoa, now I'm seeing one.
Okay, so I do control that. I didn't know if you guys could. So I can see here's one person's, and we can actually see. Oh no, this is multiple people's. The list layout. Now I can see one person, and I know who it is. Their name is listed by it. So like, we can see whose is whose, and how they're doing graphing. And so then you can go in and tab them over and see if you want to see everybody's all together. So it's kind of cool.
I'm not going to control that. I'm going to let you do what you're doing.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, so it's kind of fun. I know it's, depending on how big your monitor is, when you're on the grid layout, some of them are really small. Like, it's hard to see.
Right.
But like,
I have a really great Chromebook.
Oh, yeah, so you got a nice tiny little monitor.
But so, I'm not finding the tools to draw.
So you won't on the teacher's side, because you're only seeing their responses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And if you guys have questions, feel free to shout out, or if you want to type in Go Guardian in the little tab, if you're like, did I do that right? I'm going to go over it with you too. Oh, you know what? I'm not sure if I have the ability. I don't think I thought about that. Sharing out, slides and things. Let's see here. I gotta remember because this goes by. Oops. I want to see list layout. Monica, Mike, Justin, Raya. Wait, I'm trying to remember. Okay. Does the name go under the person or over the person? Oh, no, I didn't want that. Yes, Mariah, yours looks perfect. So then another thing, Mrs. Weber or Mrs. Winter, like I know on the teacher side, there's the 3 buttons underneath each person's grid. So there's a star, and then there's a little bubble that's a leave feedback, and then there's a hide response, which I don't know why we would use that, but so if you hit the leave feedback, they're going to get a email with all of their responses and all of the slides. So if we leave feedback on these slides, they're going to get that feedback when they get their email with the notes that they took today. So it's kind of cool because then, like, if we see something, we can say, hey, you could say hi, or you could, say, hey, this looks perfect, or really, nice job, or maybe, switch your sign around or something like that as you look at them. Oops. This one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's nice that they get that instant feedback, or pretty instant, when they look at it. So if you guys see me when I type things to you, the typing doesn't give me the ability to do an underline, so I can't write X's, or the greater than or equal to. So you'll see me put a greater than sign and then an equal sign after that. And you guys can totally do that too if you're struggling with being able to write them in. So it looks like I have 4 people who have not yet responded. So I'm waiting on a couple more people, and we'll go over some of our results here.
Most of them do look pretty good, though.
They do, yeah, especially those graphs look really, really nice. And if you guys have questions, if you're like, hey, can you check mine? We're trying to leave a little bit of feedback for people too, as you guys are looking through them. So Ryan, Owen, Braxton, if you guys could make an attempt there so we could see what you think you know, I would appreciate that. Oh, I see a... There we go. And how about, let's see here. Ryan, how we doing? Yep, it's just Ryan now. Just waiting on Ryan. Ryan, are you there? Any thoughts there? We could sing to him, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, just seeing what you're. He's like, great.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, these look great, guys. Looking at, the only thing is, like, if I don't want you guys to have to constantly be jumping back and forth from the Pear Deck to the Google Meet. So for me to show answers, it's basically I just have to look and see what each person has written, which is why you might not see things. I will. So I can hit show responses in the Google Meet. It does not show your names. So if you want to see what other people have responded with, I can show you that here if you want to check on the Google Meet and see how we did. So I'm going to do that. It does not show your name. And I can, so here's our grid of all these different responses. We can see, I know it's kind of small. I apologize for that. If I do the grid, but then you can see everybody at the same time. If I try to do the overlaid, it just makes this huge whole mess. Sometimes it's nice, but in this case, not so much. So if I look at these individually, I've got a lot of people that they have the closed circle on the 18, which is perfect because we're saying 18 or more. So 18 would be included in the people who are old enough to vote. So we would have that as part of our option. So in our symbol, we would have our greater than or equal to symbol. So we have the line underneath and then the 18 afterwards. So we can see on this next one, it looks similar, but notice that our inequality, our X and our 18 are switched from each other. And so that means that really what this is saying is that 18 is greater than or equal to our options. And so that doesn't really make sense because 18 is not the biggest number, 18 is the smallest number. So we would want to switch our X and our 18 around when we look at that so that we can see that the X is representing the shaded part of your graph. The shaded part is higher than the 18. So that's why we put the X on the left. Perfect, very nice. Our third one here that I have, and these are just based on time, like whoever the people were responding. This is not alphabetical at all, just so you know. That one, it's just missing your equal sign underneath, and then we want to shade on our graph so that it goes up. Perfect. I like how this one, they wrote them out in words. That's totally fine. That's just another way of showing or representing that solution. Same thing here, this purple one, that one looks great. So you guys are really doing a good job. Our graphs are all really, really good. I'm very proud of you guys. Being able to translate something from words into math symbols is really a skill. So it's a hard skill to work on. And so the more you do it, the easier it gets. So that's what we're going to try and practice with. Very nice. Nice job, guys. And everybody's responded. I'm so proud of you. Okay. So we should have, and I don't think it's going to let me, I should do this next time, but where I can click on it and it'll show you the actual, the final result. I'll do that for tomorrow. I'll add those in, but I didn't do it on this slide. Okay. Oops, I see another. I wonder if this was another question. It was. Okay. So writing our inequalities from a graph. So our next ones here, we have, now it's already graphed for us. So we're going to write our inequality. And a lot of you guys actually were doing really well. You graphed first and then you wrote your inequality, which is basically what we're doing here. So we can see on this first example, oops, I forgot to put my answer key down there, that we have a closed circle in the 4, and it appears, I really should put this in color, but I didn't. It appears that the graph is shaded or darkened on the left of that. So when we think about this, we're going to have a closed circle, so we're going to have an underline, and it's shaded to the left, so we're going to want to go less than. So this inequality, because it's a closed circle on the 4 and shaded to the left, it's going to be a less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to add that kind of note onto my page here. And the nice thing is here again, when you are getting your results back, when you get these emailed to you, you're going to see all of these pieces of information. So you're going to have it almost like you wrote it yourself. Okay. So then for the second one, we have our -6 is where kind of our identifying point here. And so the -6 is an open circle. So that means there won't be a line underneath. So an open circle is simply just a greater than or a less than symbol. And we are shading to the right, which means we're more than -6. So we're going to say, because of our open circle on the -6, and shading to the right, we're going to say x is greater than -6. And that's it. So you don't even have to write in the words. I chose to write those because it helps kind of clarify what it is you're doing. So your open circle on the -6 and shaded to the right. So we would say x greater than, our greater than symbol, -6. So bigger, alligator eats the bigger number x is representing everything that's greater than -6. So that's why we always like to put our inequality on the left. So let's try another one. Let's have you guys try one and see if you can write an inequality based on that graph.
I forgot that we had little arrow thingies, so I've just been putting I've just been spelling out greater than or less than, and I'll put the equals sign, stuff like that.
That works too. I mean, it is the same thing. So, but yeah, you do have.
It's more convenient to just
it is. It's faster. Yep, and that's why math, that's what a lot of things that people struggle with math is we use the symbols to make it faster, but sometimes the symbols are confusing. So that's what it's almost like a second language. It's a symbolic language, really is what math is. So it's like trying to figure out how we can use these, how we can make it easier for us, and how sometimes it makes it harder. But so we try that as much as we can. So yeah. All right, so we do have an open circle, so I can see here everybody who's responded so far. Good, is not using the equal to. Perfect. So we were just going to have our open circle, so it's either a less than or a greater than. We are shading to the left. What am I missing? So I got 2 people that are still kind of thinking about it. And remember, guys, if we leave feedback for you, you'll see that pop up on the bottom right of your screen. So you can check that feedback real quick and know, if there's something you want to fix. So we're trying as much as we can. Looks
Mrs. Kane, do you ever use the star?
I did yesterday, but they said they didn't see anything. Like it didn't show up. It shows up on their emailed feedback, but it doesn't. Or I think it does, but it didn't show up on their screen right away that a star was left for them. So I'm
Maybe
not sure.
it's more for the teacher.
Maybe, yeah.
Do you want to comment back to Draven?
Yeah. I was just leaving one for someone. I'm looking. Okay. Think I'm not totally positive, but I think if you guys leave, see your feedback, you might be able to respond to that feedback, but I'm not sure. Okay. Lesson. Those look great. Nice job. And I've got 19 responses. It looks like I've got just about everybody. I'm just trying to leave. There. I think we got feedback for everybody. If you want to double check or fill in. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to show some responses here. I've got a lot of people, so we've got a few people. Unfortunately, this time it doesn't like give me a list of everybody, how many people said this, how many people said that. So it looks like we've got, we know we have a less than symbol. We know that, so here we have one that says x is less than -2. Here they wrote it in words. That's the same thing. That's fine. Okay, I know because again, the symbols like on your keyboard aren't as easy to find. A lot of these, look at these, all of these looking the same. Very nice. That means that, if you think everybody's got the same answer, now not always, but if most of the class has the same answer as you, you're probably right. So here we have one person that has greater than 2, and that would be right if we were shading on the right side, but we're shading on the left side where it's less than -2. So we want to make sure either we say less than or we use our less than symbol. I have one person, ooh, this is nice. I have one person that says -2 is greater than x. That is also correct because that is saying -2 is the highest it goes and everything else is below it. So that is just a different way of flipping it around and saying the same thing. Very nice. I like seeing that. All right, everybody else looks awesome. Nice job, guys. All right. I wish I would have thought to make sure to add in the answer on your screen so that it would come up with not just your response, but what the correct response is too. I'll remember that for next time. Okay, let's try some more. Now we're going to solve some equations, some inequalities. So it's the same. Oh, actually, we're going to drag the dot first. Temperature check. How are we feeling about our inequalities? Some of this being reviewed from yesterday, some of this being new. Some people are like, whoa, put on the brakes. And it's okay to be confused too. That's confusion is actually not a bad thing. But if anybody's like completely like, I have no idea what's going on, I don't know what more than means, that's where we're like, okay, let's bring it back a second and we'll, try to private conference with those people so that we know that, okay, you really need some more foundational skills, and that's okay. But that helps us to know who's really struggling. Okay. Confusion is okay because we're still introducing a lot of new topics. So, all right. A couple of people looks like choosing not to respond. I'm not going to spend too long on this one. And any other responses? But it looks like nobody's like completely at, I can't go on anymore because I have no idea what's going on. So that's good. All right, we're going to go ahead then and keep going, and hopefully we'll clear up some of this confusion as we do more and more and more of these graphs for this. Okay, so let's keep going. Good. Okay, I was like, So I have some inequalities, and here's the really cool part. This is the part that I was like, I need the animation to work. So these are some inequalities. We're going to start with our 3x plus 7 greater than or equal to 22. And we need to solve this. We solve inequalities the exact same way we solve equations. You still are undoing your steps. So anybody have an idea what would be the first step you would do to undo 3x plus 7 greater than or equal to 22?
3 plus 7.
So can I do 3 plus 7? Will I combine the 3 and the 7 together? Or will I get rid of something? Because we want to undo steps. I know it's been a while. Where did they say take away? I don't know. I'm going to move that 7 over to the other side. So my first step is going to be to minus 7 on both sides of the line of our inequality. Remember T-chart? We're T-charting. That's all this is. And it's just two-step problems. So if I T-chart this, I didn't draw the line for T-chart, but if I T-chart this, I am going to subtract my 7. So that's going to leave me then with 3x greater than or equal to, and then I just have to figure out what's 22 minus 7. And that's 15. So I'm going to write this down on my paper as I'm doing it so that I can be ready and have a nice my own handwriting version of this. What would be the next step? So if I have 3x is greater than or equal to 15, how do I get x by itself? What's the next step in our T-chart?
Divide by 3.
Good. There you go. We're going to divide both sides by 3, and that's going to get us our answer. The inequality won't change. Not today, anyways. We're going to leave them simple today. So that's going to just give us x greater than or equal to 5. So I'm just going to write those in on my paper here real quick so that I have a record of what I was doing. And then we want to graph this now. So this is the part that's extra because we like being extra from just an equation. So the part that we're going to do now is we need to graph the inequality. So because it is a greater than or equal to symbol, we're going to draw a closed circle and we're going to draw it on the 5 because that's the number they told us. And because it's a greater than symbol, we're going to arrow to the right. So we're going to draw or fill in or shade the right side of 5. And the more you see how these are kind of related, the easier it's going to be to actually graph them and then pull from the graph as well. All right. Okay, so we're kind of just doing two-step T-charts today, nothing crazy. So on our next one, I want to get rid of the 9. T-chart it. How do I get rid of minus 9?
You add 9.
Add 9. Beautiful. Okay, so that's going to move my negative 9 over. I'm going to make it positive. So I'm going to combine my 3 plus 9. 2x and the greater than or equal to sign just drops down. Oops. Ah, I have an error. My inequality sign's wrong. It's right on the paper, but it's wrong on my thing. Well, that's my fault. My bad. I bet it was that I meant to switch the inequality on my paper too, and I forgot because I copy and paste a lot, and I didn't. That's a shame. All right. Well, so my answer is going to go along with what I have in my filled in like my animations, but it's okay. That's embarrassing. Your math teacher did math wrong, guys. Sorry.
I think it just shows you're human.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no. Okay, so because I accidentally switched the sign, we did add our 9, and we are going to divide by 2, t-charting this. So my inequality now says x is less than or equal to 6. It probably was supposed to originally say 2x minus 9 is less than or equal to 3, but I had copied and pasted some things, and I think I forgot to switch the sign. My bad. So because it's a less than or equal to, I'm going to draw a closed circle on the 6, and I'm going to arrow to the left. So I'm going to, on my answer key or on my paper key that I'm doing, I'm going to change my inequality symbols to say less than or equal to 3 on the original one, so that everything else makes sense with my graph. So yeah. And so I'm going to do a closed circle on the 6, and I'm going to arrow it to the left because my inequality sign says less than or equal to. If this was actually done with the original and I didn't switch the sign around, it would have been an arrow to the right with a greater than. So there we go. All right. So you guys remember t-charting. We're going to do a couple more t-charts here, but 2x less than or equal to 12 because 3 plus 9 gave me 12. I'm just writing this down really quick so that I have a record for later. X less than or equal to 6. And again, I know you guys are going to get this emailed to you, but this way also for people who are not here, they'll have it. Okay. So now I have another one. This one's actually a really short one, or it looks like it. I want to t-chart it. I want to get the variable, p in this case, by itself. So if I was t-charting, to get p by itself, I have minus 9.5. So I want to do the opposite. I'm going to add 9.5 to both sides. So I now will have my negative 5 and my plus 9.5 will combine. That'll give me 4.5. Because it's basically like saying 9 minus 5. I have a greater than sign, and then I have p. Now, this isn't terrible. This is fine for a solution. However, a lot of people struggle to graph this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reorganize this inequality. I'm going to flip it so that p is on the left instead of on the right, and I'm going to move my 4.5 over to the other side. So I'm just going to flip-flop it in a second when I click the button. And I think, oh, no, I didn't put an explanation here. So because I flip-flopped it, I had to flip-flop the sign as well. So this became now p is greater than 4.5. Because it's a greater than, not a greater than or equal to, I'm going to use an open circle this time with an arrow to the right. So open circle and 4.5, it's kind of in the middle between 4 and 5. If you want, you can label 4.5 above your open circle. Obviously, I didn't do that, but that's okay. And we arrow to the right because it is now a greater than since I switched it around.
Shouldn't that have stayed the same, though, with the p to the
Oh, that's another mistake. Side? Dang it, that should have been less than.
Yes.
Ah! This is what I get for writing these too late in the evening.
You would only have done that if you divided by a negative.
Right, yeah. Oh, darn. Let's see if I can do one more right. Okay, so I got 2 wrong in a row. And of course, they're going to get an email copy of these wrong answers now. I'm like, and
so it should say p less than
yes
4.5.
It should, and I don't think it'll let me
fix it.
It should go like this. Like I can fix it on my recording, but it won't go. So it should look like this, and this would be wrong.
But that's helpful to see that.
Yeah, but it'll be on the recording, but I don't think it'll come through on the Pear Deck on their notes. Like if I try to print these, because it's a presentation. So yeah, yeah. Ah. so mad at myself. Okay, I'm gonna have to double check all my answers for the next time for tomorrow. Make sure I did them all right, because that's when they do start switching, and then it's like, ah.
That's all right. Error is human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Last one. So I have a minus 20 on both sides. So that gives me 4m, drops down, negative 26 drops down, my greater than sign. Yep, that's correct, drops down. So I'm going to divide. Oh, I ran out of space. Hey, I did that one right. All right, woohoo! So I flipped it around right off the bat, and I flipped it correctly. Yay! Just because I ran out of space. And I didn't have enough room to show the division. So now it says less than negative 26. And now I can do my division, divide both sides by 4, and I get x is less than 6.5. Oh, except it should say m. Dang it. I'm just changing variables. I'm like, let's see if I can confuse them anymore. What do you guys think? Am I confusing you? I swear I know what I'm doing. I swear it's m is less than 6.5. Okay, so I'm going to do an open circle on negative 6.5, and I'm going to arrow it to the left. Okay, open circle, arrow it to the left. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this one, and this one, and that way that one. Okay, I got stuff. I'm making like little notes to myself. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if maybe, we'll see what you guys can do. My turn, your turn. Let's try it. Oh, there's my arrow. Open circle on negative 6.5 and arrow to the left. Okay. Oh, see, there we go. I was like, I think it's not gonna, that was my stuff from what I was trying to fix. So you guys, let's see how you T-chart after I've just completely tried to mess you up. Okay, I'm like trying to like fix them on here on my answer key so that I have them right. There we go. Good. So it looks like so far we're getting our T-charts are getting those started, +2 on both sides to get rid of the minus. This way. Good. So -7 plus 2. If you're struggling with that, think it's really subtraction because you have a negative and a positive. So 7 minus 2 is 5, and then you would just keep the negative. So your 5x would be less than or equal to -5. Good. Looks like our solutions, we're doing pretty good. All righty. Oh. So I'm leaving feedback on a bunch of people. So go ahead and check, make sure that you're seeing that. I'm trying to leave feedback on just about everybody's. I'm trying. I'm like, oops. Oh, okay. Okay. Looks like for the most part, there we go. We're like getting feedback for everybody. Lots of people doing great. Some people struggling a little more. It's like trying to make sure that everybody's gotten some form of feedback. Oh, got it. Okay. Okay. I know that this does make the notes take a little bit longer, but I like being able to see where we're at, see what our brains are doing. It gives me some big information so I know what we need help on still, where we're stuck. Some people are doing really well. Some people struggling a little bit more. Okay, so it looks like for the most part, we are needing some more work on our T-charts, actually. That seems to be where we're having issues. So we should have, the final answer should be x is less than or equal to -1. And so it should be a closed circle on the -1 and arrowing to the left. So to your -2, -3, -4, -5, all of your negative numbers should be shaded in. So we are trying to make some notes and add some things in and help ourselves out there. And it looks like we are stuck a little bit on some of those things. Okay, so that gives us an idea of where we need to go from here. We hadn't done trivia, so I was thinking maybe we take a quick brain break with some trivia. And I can see clearly we're not going to quite get all of the notes finished today, and that's okay. That's, I need to know where we're at and what we are stuck on. I don't want to move ahead if we aren't ready for it. So we're going to do
for the homework. Are we doing Delta Math again?
No, it's a worksheet. It's a page. So it's on Cami or on paper if you picked up your paper copy. All right, let's do some trivia to end our hour because we only have about 5 minutes left. Let's end on a nice fun note. I put some SpongeBob trivia in here for you guys. I thought you'd like that. Oh no! Oh, okay. Turns out if I use the little scroll tool, it gets rid of all my answers, all my boxes. All right, in the theme song, SpongeBob is described with 3 adjectives. What are they? Anybody know? How is SpongeBob described? What's his color? That's an adjective.
Yellow.
Yellow, good. We got 2 more. Oh, Connor's got it. Say it again, Jaden.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. That's where he lives. Absorbent. Porous. There we go. Porous, absorbent, and yellow. Or absorbent, porous, and yellow. Perfect. They're like trying to sing it. I just know it. You guys are singing it in your head. Who is Mermaid Man's faithful sidekick?
Barnacle Boy.
Barnacle Boy.
You guys are like, I got this. Oh no, and this one went off the page. Or at least it looks like it's off the page on mine. Oh yeah, yours is good. It's just mine. Because mine says presenting. In what month does winter begin in the southern hemisphere? Ooh. For us, it begins in December, but what month does it begin in the southern hemisphere?
September.
September? Any other guesses? Say month of the year. You got 12 options. September's been taken. It is June, because it's 6, so it's because they're flipped from us. So their winter is from like June, July, August is winter for them, while our winter is December, January, February, because it goes opposite of us. So their summer is actually in December. It's very strange. Okay, well, so that puts us at 10:48. Clearly, we're not quite there yet, but class isn't technically over. Oh, I don't know if it'll do it. Okay, so this was my fun little one. I was like, this was a stretch break because I was thinking the other stuff was going to go faster, and that's okay, it didn't. I was like, oh, we'll do a stretch. I know how much you guys enjoyed that earlier, so I threw a little video on there. You'll be back, because it was a stretch break and you were supposed to leave and come back. Thought it was funny. Homework tonight is page 3. I want you guys to try as best as you can, like the front page, 1 through 10. The other stuff we didn't quite get to today. I did put an answer key on the back, so you guys can check and see how you're doing. If you want to try and do those other couple, that's awesome. We'll pick up with those tomorrow. But it's kind of a good place to end too, because I know tomorrow you'll be back. I'm so funny. Michaela's like, and I'm gone. Oh, anyways. All right, so you guys have a great day. We'll see you later. If you want to stick around for the end of the song, you're welcome to do that too.
So it's lunch now then?
It is lunchtime already. Yep.
Okay, and then how long does it go till?
Today it is till 11:40. So A3 starts at 11:40.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is like my son's favorite song. You say our love is draining and you can't go. Oh, I should stop recording. I'm recording this, you guys. I'm singing and dancing. Don't change the subject.